What's up, fight fans, and welcome to South Florida. Florida, one of the hotbeds for mixed martial arts in our great country. Jim Grieshaber, along with the mighty Quinn, Ryan Quinn, Bellator veteran, coach here in Florida. And Ryan, as we get set for the Elite Amateur Fight League with M1 Global USA here tonight, where some amateur fighters will have an opportunity to represent the state of Florida if they impress the powers that be enough. It's a great night for them and a great chance to represent this incredible state that you know better than anyone, the incredible talent level here in Florida.
Absolutely, man. Florida has a wealth of talent when it comes to the amateurs, and I'm glad that these six badasses stepped up tonight to show the world what they got.
Well, they have the opportunity to represent Florida against the rest of the country, team versus team, state versus state, to find out who's the best in America. It's the Elite Amateur Fight League here at M1 Global USA, and it starts right now.
Tonight's amateur portion of M1 Global USA Road to M1 is sanctioned by the ISKA. Ladies and gentlemen, we're starting things off tonight with some amateur bantamweight action. Introducing first, out of the blue corner, Jesse Gallegos.
Jesse Gallegos making his way to the rage right now. It's half ring, it's half cage, and it's here in South Florida tonight. Jesse Gallegos from Valdosta, Georgia, at 5'10", 140 pounds. He is ranked in Georgia, Florida, and South Carolina. His head coach is Cameron Neville, Ryan, and he is a guy who started off wrestling and has really fallen in love with striking.
Looks like we got a real rankings collector here. Like you said, a wrestler turned MMA, falling in love in striking. 1-1 record, looking to get over the hump there, get above 500, and we'll see what he's got tonight.
His teammate is also fighting here tonight, coached by the same guy, Cameron Neville. It's Anthony Sager, who we'll have coming up in just a few minutes. His coach, Cameron Neville, told me earlier he always has to try to get him to wrestle. Even though he started as a good wrestler, all he wants to do is stand and bang. And you know, as a coach, when the guy just wants to stand there on the feet all the time and bang, and you're trying to get him to remember his ground game, that's not always an easy thing to do as a coach.
Yeah, don't be scared to keep up with your foundation. Don't be like, I was named Julian Lane, the Ultimate Fighter. I want to bang, bro. And, let's save the career. We don't always got to do that, you know?
Doesn't have a nickname yet because his coach said he hasn't earned it. He'll get one when he does. He has a good chance to start that process, along with potentially a spot, the Elite Amateur Fight League here tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, and introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, now entering the rage, Yve Nelson.
Out through the curtain will come Yve, the Arsenal Nelson. Love the nickname because he has the full arsenal. This kid is really fantastic. 3-1 with 2 knockouts. It's his 4th fight at 5'8", 133.5 pounds is what he weighed in at. 73-inch reach. This guy is super athletic, coached by Jason Sanchez at Combat Club in Lantana, Florida. Comes in a freestyle fighter, wrestled and played football in high school. Started fighting, Ryan, because everyone in the neighborhood used to box and they used to pick on him because he was a little kid. They don't pick on him anymore.
Yeah, that was a good reason to start fighting. I got into wrestling for similar reasons, and I think that that's really translated here well with a winning 3-1 record, 2 KOs, looking at a 3rd.
Take a look at his team there as Yve, the Arsenal Nelson, walks out for his bout against Jesse Gallegos to get us started here tonight, the EAFL at M1 Global USA here in Florida. He said his keys for his best performance tonight were to stay sharp, be rangy and composed, get in, land, and get out. That his ground game's pretty good, but he wants to use that range.
Looking to get him down is always good, but being aware of the range is great, especially for these young fighters. You know, when you can control the range in a young fight, usually that starts with the jab, that really sets the tone, and let's hope to see who does that tonight.
Yve, the Arsenal Nelson, hopping into the cage right now. Getting set for his matchup against Jesse Gallegos. And that is a golden opportunity for each of these guys with the Elite Amateur Fight League.
Two guys just squaring each other off, staring each other down. Kicking off the night for us.
Ladies and gentlemen, the opening bout of the amateur portion of M1 Global USA Road to M1, live in Pembroke Pines, Florida, at the Charles F. Dodge City Center, is set for 3 rounds of amateur bantamweight action. Introducing first, he is fighting out of the blue corner, standing at 5 feet, 10 inches tall, weighing in at 138 pounds, with an amateur record of 1 win and 1 loss, and fighting out of American Top Team in Valdosta, Georgia, he is Jesse Gallegos. Gallegos. And his opponent fighting out of the red corner, standing at 5 feet 8 inches tall, weighing in at 133.3 pounds, with an amateur record of 3 wins and 1 loss, and fighting out of the Combat Club in Wellington, Florida. He is Yve, the Arsenal Nelson. Referee for this bout, James Morrison.
Jesse Gallegos and Yve, the Arsenal Nelson. Gallegos 1-1, Nelson 3-1. He's got a couple of TKOs, heavy-handed, wants to stay at range, has the reach advantage in this fight. And here they come, fight number 1, the Elite Amateur Fight League at M1 Global USA here in South Florida. Jim Grieshaber, the mighty Ryan Quinn. Nice body shot landed by Gallegos as Nelson gets out of the way of a straight right coming right down the middle.
Got to punch before you kick. That happens more often than not, unless they're circling into it. Hopefully he learns from that. Little bounce in his step. Gallegos kind of a little more poised, just seeing what comes his way.
Nelson in
counter
the
left hand there, very nice.
Dark burgundy trunks. Gallegos in the black. Oh, the head kick check, kind of connected a little bit on the side of the dome of Gallegos there. Got to watch those long legs of Nelson too. Staying at range doesn't just mean the fists.
Yeah, always got to. Another thing is always got to block those head kicks with two arms. Be careful. I've actually broken a guy's arm he blocked it with one arm.
Humble brag.
Yeah.
Look at the height advantage, though. You can see there, Ryan, with Yve Nelson in the reach. That leg kick snapping into the inner thigh of Gallegos.
I think Gallegos having a little bit of an issue gauging his range here, and that was part of the plan for Yves. So, mission accomplished thus far.
Nice uppercut, grazes him, and then the left catches him flush on the cheek from Nelson.
Yeah. Nelson's going to have to start trying to double jab his way in. Maybe right hands to the body. Maybe the southpaw is just throwing him off a little bit here. He's not trying to beat him to the outside foot. It's a little trick you learn from boxing. Oh, slippery ground will do that. Oh,
that's a slip for Nelson, and then Gallegos slip too. Break for Nelson there. See the shin guards in the amateur portion of the card here in Florida.
Now Gallegos is circling a little bit, try to beat him to that outside foot, set up that off-center right hand.
That left from Nelson caught him a little bit again. Nelson being very aggressive now, coming in, sensing that he can have his way inside too with Gallegos, but then that patient approach that he talked about to pop back out there and reset.
A lot of poise. That's something that's really good to use for an amateur fighter here. Mixing it up and then knowing not to bite too hard. 3-minute round opposed to professional 5.
Gallegos unable to get much, if anything, going so far.
Yeah, looks a little thrown off. Big left hand there right in front of us. Another one, mixing it up again. He's going to want to come down to the body after a few of those strikes when he starts covering up so high up top.
Gallegos breathing through his mouth already, you can see.
He looks a little frustrated. He just can't time the left hand. He can't get in on him. Those are some long arms. Nice leading right. There's the body.
Big shots from Nelson as we approach the 10-second mark of round number 1. Gallegos coming off the rope swinging. But he's breathing heavy and he's eating a bunch of shots so far in this fight against Yve, the Arsenal Nelson, showing off a big part of that arsenal in round number 1. Ryan Quinn, an outstanding start to this fight for Yve Nelson.
Yeah, I wouldn't change anything if I'm Yve. That was well done. He even started mixing up to the body, kicked when he needed to. If I'm Gallegos, I got to start feinting and double jabbing my way in. What he's doing, he's not even moving his head, so he's being a clean-cut target for him. So if I'm his cornerman, I'm telling him to mix it up with the boxing a little bit. You don't got to box with him. You're kind of losing the boxing battle, but you got to show some boxing here.
And looking at Gallegos, I think it's important to point out that he is not breathing through his mouth because he's tired. He's breathing through his mouth because he got hit in the nose and he's starting to close up on him.
That'll happen too. Swelling up, could even be broken. He doesn't even know it yet.
One of the shots was right there with that left, and then you see Nelson just coming right in on him. And he's just wailing away on him there. I like that he mixed it up in the body too, because a lot of times with younger fighters, you'll see them
headhunting
only, but the wherewithal to get to the body reminds me of Stipe against DC in their second fight when he started going to the body and had such success with it.
Absolutely. That fight will be in the making soon, I'm sure.
Well, we can only hope, right?
Yeah. Oh, there was a nice little right hook to the body.
Gallegos looking for the takedown, and I'm sure that's exactly what his
Good
coach
defense.
Cameron Neville was saying. Hey, get to your wrestling. We talked about how he doesn't like to go to his wrestling.
Yeah.
His coach has to remind him.
Time to get
I'm
back
sure
to
maybe
it.
not so subtly in between rounds. From Coach Cameron Neville out of Valdosta, Georgia. He was at American Top Team here in South Florida. Moved up to Valdosta to coach his nephew, who's Gallegos' teammate, Anthony Sager, who we'll see in a little bit. Nelson starting to snap off some of those kicks. Oh, that one.
Yeah,
Right
he's just
there,
a sitting
flush.
target. He's got to move. That's going to hurt tomorrow.
Gallegos getting beat up here. In this
he's
one.
going to
Nice
have
right
to throw
counter
a little
off the
bit.
ropes, though. What's the difference in it? I'm intrigued by that because you saw him bounce off the ropes and get a little extra power on that
Yeah,
punch,
you know,
which
that's,
wouldn't see in a cage.
I don't know if he was just lucky that happened or if that was something he was planning on. The only thing I'm noticing here is how he's a sitting target. He does have to throw some punches. You know, he can't just shoot. He needs to box through wrestling. This is an MMA fight, not a wrestling match. You know, especially because Yves is keeping his hands nice and low for the takedown defense, probably. And he's staying nice and loose here. He's in no threat of him coming in for any punching.
Not much in terms of level change or anything like that from Gallegos so far.
He's just standing there looking for a good, clean shot, but he's not really throwing anything.
Of course, it's easy for me to say, you know, from being in there, but easy for me to say when he's been bombarded from the start. But it's been a calm, cool, collected, pragmatic, very patient and formative, I'll say, because it seems like he's setting him up in Nelson. He's been very effective. He's landing a lot of shots, but so focused and so determined to stick to that game plan of getting in, getting out as he's landing again. And he got a nice counter off that time, though, did Gallegos with the right.
Yeah, he's doing a great job of just biting, but not jumping on him. And he's picking him apart. He's winning his rounds, and he's fighting masterfully right now. See Gallegos, this is now 3 times. I noticed him cross his feet. That's never a good sign.
I'm just going to say it, throw it out there. Nelson doesn't look like an amateur in this fight.
No, he's very confident. He's in there very confident.
Trains with Raymond Page, who we'll see on our pro card tonight, against someone you know really well.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one.
Salguero. Nelson coached by Jason Sanchez, Rodney Brewer, and Michael Massimino. Started training only 2 years ago. Very poised. About 20 seconds remaining in the round. He says his biggest strength is being composed and relaxed. He says he thinks of it as just a sport, not life and death, and if he stays relaxed, he's going to do his best. So far, exactly what's happening here tonight.
Yeah, I like that. I didn't learn that till way later in my professional career.
10 seconds left in round number 2. A fight dominated so far by Yve the Arsenal Nelson. Gallegos hanging in there. Nelson missing with some shots and hitting a couple big ones. A knockdown late in the round.
Neutral corner. That was the end of the round, right? If it was 10 seconds.
That was the end of the round.
Well, that was the end of the round, round 2.
The
And the question then becomes, did that knockdown come before or after? Because we didn't hear a bell.
I guess we're going to decide that right now.
Hey, ref. Trying to get clarification if that knockdown came before or after the end of the round. As the doctor comes in to check him, obviously the ref has more important things to do than answer my questions at this moment. But Gallegos got tagged with a 1-2 right at the end of the round, or right as the round was ending, maybe a little bit after. It seemed to me, with at least just the clock in my head, that it was right before the end of the round.
I thought it was before the end of the round. It looks like it was, and the fight's going to continue. With
The end of the round came, and corners came
no
in.
flags.
Jason.
So we'll get a clarification on that as soon as we can. As we get set for the 3rd and final round.
Touch gloves, back up.
Touching gloves.
Touching gloves show
Right.
sportsmanship.
Yve Nelson, Jesse Gallegos.
If I'm Gallegos, I got to open up a lot right now. Take it out back, make it a brawl.
Got to try to take him down, and he's sprawled.
Got to set those takedowns up.
Falling on his stomach, just came out right away trying to punch into it. Landed a shot, actually, but that was not the type of takedown that's going to work against a fighter like Nelson.
Yeah, Yve here is totally fine with just sticking to the game plan. I'm up 2 rounds to none. Make him come fight me.
Nice left there landed by Nelson.
Gotta be careful of that check hook, though.
Gallegos, best opportunity to fight for a takedown. Good takedown defense there by Nelson.
Those do not look like confident takedowns. He's just trying there. You gotta do a little more of that. Follow it up with a hook.
Front kick, mix it up a little bit for him. Nelson remaining patient, maybe a little more aggressive than he was earlier in the fight. How hard is it to stay patient when you sense you can get a finish as he connects with the left there? Because when you sense that, the tendency as a human is just to keep going and go faster.
Well, he's done a good job with not biting on the fool's gold, so to speak. You know, there were certain times where, you know, he got hit or he got the punch and connected, but he didn't see the, he didn't see the depletion. So he's doing a good job just picking them apart. And I would have done the same thing here. Showing a lot of cage poise. A lot of these amateurs connect and they just go crazy.
His coach Cameron Neville, speaking of Gallegos, said he needs to wrestle because it makes the hands better. His boxing is better when he wrestles, but he always forgets. And
yeah,
he tried it a couple times here early, and now he's gotten away from it again. So you can see what his coach is talking about. And again, Coach Neville told me, he said, I want my guys to make their mistakes now. As amateurs, he said the exact phrase he used was, it's like their juvenile record. It gets wiped away when they turn pro. So this is the time and the opportunity for these young guys to learn baptism by fire. And that's some fire right there. The left hand from Nelson. Now he comes in, unleashing, and that's it.
All right. Ref has seen enough.
102 unofficially of round number 3. Yve the Arsenal Nelson stops Jesse Gallegos with a flurry of punches against the ropes.
Yeah, that was a great job. And there was that blood in the water that we were talking about, that he smelled it, he got in. The ref said enough, this guy's taking enough damage. Let's call it. These are amateurs, they don't need to be going down and taking extra damage.
Good job by the ref there. Jesse Gallegos was overmatched in this fight. He's going to learn from it. And actually, if you're Cameron Neville and you know this being a coach on a high level, he's got a lot to go back and say, see, I told you. And he's going to give him the opportunity to learn from this. As we take a look at the replay here from the start of this fight, Yve Nelson just unleashing those combinations of punches, and that's really what did it for him.
Yeah, and he was able to keep his range, even though that's why he was keeping his hands up, because Gallegos really wasn't doing anything, to threaten anything.
You see the sportsmanship there. Good job by both fighters. Nelson and Gallegos, our opening bout of the night, the Elite Amateur Fight League here in South Florida, looking for the best talent in the country to go team versus team and state versus state to see who's the best. Let's make it official for Yve Nelson. Send it up to the Rage and Blake Chadwick.
Ladies and gentlemen, at 1 minute, 56 seconds of round number 3, your winner via TKO out of the red corner, Yve the Arsenal Nelson.
Yve Nelson picking up the win. Very confident young man, still calm, cool, and collected. He seems like one of those dudes that you can't get mad. He's just gonna stay nice and cool and relaxed.
I wish I was one of those dudes.
Yeah, same here, man.